Hey there, and welcome. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most incredible and honestly, most important molecules in our bodies. We're going to pull back the curtain on the unseen architects of life, proteins.
So to get started, let's do a little thought experiment. Just picture a single drop of your own blood. Seems pretty simple, doesn't it? Just a little bit of red stuff. But what if I told you that inside that one tiny drop is an entire universe of complexity, a universe that holds the key to everything we're talking about today?
Okay, so for our first section, let's do it. Let's put that drop of blood under a virtual microscope. We're going to break it down piece by piece to find the one molecule that's at the very heart of our story.
Right off the bat, you can see blood isn't just one thing. A whopping 55% of it is this yellowish liquid called plasma. The other 45%, well, that's what we usually think of as blood. The red and white blood cells, all that stuff. But for now, let's focus on the bigger slice of the pie, that plasma.
So what's actually in the plasma? Well, mostly water, about 90 to 92%. But check out that small solids category. It's only 8 to 10%, but man, is it packed. It's got glucose for energy, hormones for sending messages, and, most importantly for us, a whole lot of proteins.
Okay, but wait a second. We just said plasma is yellowish. So where does that famous, iconic red color of blood actually come from? The answer has to be in the other half, right? In the red blood cells. And tucked inside every single one is a very special molecule. And that question leads us perfectly into our second section. We're going to shine a spotlight on the molecule that not only gives blood its color, but is also responsible for one of its most important jobs. So let's meet hemoglobin.
Hemoglobin is basically the oxygen delivery truck for our entire body. It's got two parts. You've got heme, that's the part with iron that makes blood red, and then you have globin, which as it turns out is a protein. And boom, there it is. That's our gateway into this whole topic. And this is the perfect pivot, right? We've just found a protein, hemoglobin, doing a super important job inside our blood. But that just opens up a much bigger question. What even is a protein, really?
Which brings us right into Section 3, the protein blueprint. This is where we're going to define what a protein is and look at the basic ways scientists categorize them based on their shape.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. A protein is what we call a macromolecule, which is just a fancy way of saying it's huge on a molecular level. It's made of smaller building blocks called amino acids, all chained together. The best way to think of it is like a super long, really intricate pearl necklace. Each pearl is an amino acid. And we're not talking short necklaces here. A single protein can easily have over 100 of them.
Now those long chains of amino acids fold up in basically two main ways. On one hand, you've got fibrous proteins. These guys are long, strong like fibers, and they don't dissolve in water. Think of them as the body's building materials, like the collagen in your bones or the keratin making up your hair. On the other hand, you have globular proteins. They're all balled up, kind of spherical, and they do dissolve in water. These are the doers, involved in all sorts of chemical reactions, like the albumin we saw in blood plasma.
Okay, so we know what they are, but the really mind-blowing part is what they do. And in Section 4, we're going to cover their 8 primary functions. This is where you'll really see just how versatile these molecules are.
That's right, 8. These things are such incredible workhorses that they have 8 totally distinct, essential job categories. This is going to be a bit of a whirlwind, so let's just jump right in.
First up, their most basic job, structural. Proteins like collagen and keratin are the literal girders and support beams of our bodies. They provide the framework for everything from your skeleton to your skin and hair.
Next, we've got their catalytic role. Special proteins called enzymes are like little accelerators for all the chemical reactions happening in your cells. Without them, processes that are essential for life would take like years to happen. No joke.
Number 3 is transport. And hey, this should sound familiar. This is our friend hemoglobin, carrying oxygen around. But there are tons of other transport proteins that act like bouncers at the door of your cells, deciding which molecules get in and which get out.
They also act as storage. The perfect example is oval albumin. That's the main protein in an egg white. It's basically a nutrient stockpile, just waiting to fuel a growing embryo.
Coming in at number 5, they play a huge hormonal role. Proteins like insulin are messengers. They travel through your bloodstream carrying vital signals that regulate really complex things like your blood sugar levels. Then you have their genetic function. You have literally miles of DNA packed into each tiny cell. How does it not become a tangled mess?
Well, it's wrapped neatly around these spool-like proteins called histones, which keep everything organized. Their seventh job is, honestly, one of their most heroic: defense. Antibodies, which are just incredibly specialized proteins, are the frontline soldiers of your immune system. They hunt down and neutralize invaders like bacteria and viruses.
And finally, bringing it all home at number 8 is their motor function. Every single movement you make, from a tiny twitch to a full-out sprint, is powered by motor proteins like actin and myosin contracting inside your muscle cells.
So after all that, we land here, in our final section. After seeing everything they can do, there's really only one way to put it. These molecules are, without a doubt, life's ultimate molecular workhorse.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? We started with just a single drop of blood. And from that one drop, we found hemoglobin, which led us to this whole class of molecules that, well, they do everything. They build us, they power our reactions, they move supplies, they store food, they carry messages, they guard our DNA, they fight our battles, and they make us move. They are everywhere, doing everything.
And so I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. We've seen that proteins aren't just part of life. In so many ways, they are life in action. They're the builders, the runners, and the defenders. So the real question isn't what do proteins do, it's what part of life don't they touch? Thanks for joining me.